sa bahay namin. Kamusta naman ang ating week? Ayan. So, isang linggo na lang, alam niya na yung kasunod. Diba? So, yung mga habol dyan, habol na. And
At
so,
siyempre, pasalamatan natin ang unang-unang nag-comment sa ating comment box, si Rizalyn A. Badang ng San Lorenzo Ruiz Senior High School. So hello sa mga taga San Lorenzo Ruiz Senior High School. Ayan, ang dami-dami nilang nag-comment. Hello rin no, sa mga taga Eusebio High School na nandiyan na nakasuporta sa atin, mga students ng ating tutor Zara. Kay Ma'am Princess Binaraw, no, siya ang teacher ng San Lorenzo Ruiz Senior High School. Hello din sa mga taga Jones Rural School, SDO Isabela, at sa kanilang teacher na si Ma'am Clarissa Jane Metro. Ayan, meron pa tayong mga, ang dami na nakakomment. Hello sa mga taga Buting, nandito na rin, sa ating eskwelahan, Buting Senior High School, at syempre ako ang teacher nila, no. At nandyan din yung kanilang students din ng Buting ng ibang section. Hello natin si Sir Robert Gusto, ang kanilang teacher. Ayan. Hello din sa mga bagong pasok. Ayan, nabuti na lang nakahabol at di pa tayo nagsisimula. Kaya on time lang na tayo ay magsisimula pa lang. Tutor Zara.
Ayan, so ngayon, tingnan natin kung gaano kahanda ang ating mga estudyante ngayon.
Tutor Zara, nandito na rin pala ang mga taga San Miguel National High School, SDO Bulacan. Meron din tayong taga Camarines Sur. Ayan, si Allen Mark De Jesus, nasa Camarines Sur ngayon. Ayan, ang layo-layo na ng ating naaabot. At isa-shoutout pa natin yung ibang school na magko-comment. Kaya paki-comment lang sa ating comment section.
I-mention na rin pati ang kanilang mga teachers.
Ayan, para mapasalamatan natin at ma-shoutout ang kanilang name ay paki-comment na rin.
Okay, so start na tayo, Tutor Erwin.
Sige lang.
Kasi i-discuss natin yung lahat ng derivative rules. Then its application. Okay, so our lesson for today is applying the differentiation rules in computing the derivative of an algebraic, exponential, and trigonometric function. So we're on our third quarter, week 7. Ayan. So for our learning objectives, okay, so we have first, recall the differentiation rules. And then second, we have the apply the differentiation rules in finding the derivative of an algebraic, exponential, and trigonometric functions. Okay, so let's have a recap. Ayan. So let us find the derivative of, ayan, yung assignment natin, yung additional activity natin last time, no? So we have, okay, ano kayong sagot niyan? E check natin muna, no? Pa-check natin sa kanila kung ano yung sagot. Okay, so dapat mag-a-arrive sila saan? So first, ang given natin ay f of x is equal to the square root of x plus 5. Okay, so that dun nga sa rules, no? So ang formula natin is f of x plus delta x minus f of x all over delta x. So yung x natin dito, papalitan natin siya ng x plus delta x and then plus 5. Minus f of x, ano yung f of x natin? So we have square root of x plus 5. Ayan. So in this case, we use conjugates, no? So nag-conjugate tayo dito, kinuha natin yung conjugate, then we multiply both numerator and denominator by its conjugate. So which is the square root of x plus delta x plus 5 plus square root of x plus 5. So both numerator and denominator yan. So sa numerator natin, we apply the sum and difference. Okay, the product and sum and difference, okay, of binomials. So we have, okay, so i-square natin yung first term minus square the second term. Okay, yan. So magiging, ano na siya? Okay, so magiging Okay, so i-square natin to, matatanggal yung square root sign. So, ito na siya, no? So, x plus delta x plus 5. Then, minus, yan. Tatanggalin din natin yung square root sign dito. Yan. Kasi bakit tinanggal? Kasi ini-square na natin siya both first term and second term. Yan. So, magiging x plus 5 na siya. Then, simplify na natin. So, ang matatanggal dyan ay x minus x. Okay, and then 5 minus 5. So may matitira tayong delta x sa taas, 'di ba? So we cancel delta x, both numerator and denominator. Now we have 1 over the square root of x plus delta x plus 5. Then plus square root of x plus 5. Then limit, yun yung kinukuha natin limit as delta x approaches 0. So papalitan natin yung delta x ng 0. And then now we have, okay, 1 over 2 square root of x plus 5. Kasi bakit 2? Dahil meron kang square root of x plus 5 dito plus square root of 5. So, dalawang square root of 5 yan. Kaya naging 2 square root of x plus 5. Okay? So, pa-comment naman natin, Tutor Erwin, kung nakuha ba nila, type yes. Okay, kung nakuha nila ang tamang sagot sa ating additional activity. So, just be honest, no? Kung nakuha nyo nga talaga, kung hindi nyo naman ginawa, hindi nyo ginawa, wag na kayo mag-comment. Kung nagawa nila, type yes. Kung may konting mali, okay, type no. Okay? Para at least dito sa ating solution, makita nila kung ano yung mali nila. Yan. So, maiiwasan na nila yung kung saan sila nagkamali. Ayan. So, maraming nag-type ng yes. So, unang-unang nag-comment ay si Jadale, Tutor Erwin. Ayan. So, sinundan ni Akisha. Yes, yes, yes.
Yes, yes, yes.
Ang dami na nag-comment.
Shout out na rin natin na Tutor, hello Tutor Zara.
Yes po.
Ayan, shout out na rin natin ang ating kapapasok lang, ang mga taga San Mariano National High School, Maine, ng SDO Isabela at ang kanilang teacher na si Ma'am Alona Ney Agkawili. Hello po sa mga taga San Mariano.
Shout out po.
At meron din from ETUlay National High School. Ayan, mga nag-comment na sila. Saan kaya division tong ETUlay National High School? So paki-comment.
I-search natin yan.
Para at least.
Ayan, o kaya paki-comment na lang. Ayan, o kaya paki-comment na lang. Okay, so anong susunod natin yan? So maraming nag-comment na yes, Tutor Erwin.
So, kaya tayo natutuwa.
Papusuan natin ang ating comment box. Okay? Pakipusuan ang ating comment box kung ready na ba sila sa ating lesson for today. Ayan. So, tingin ko naman ay ready na sila. Okay. So, differentiation rules. We have first the constant rule. Ano pong ibig sabihin nun? So sabi dito, f prime of c is equal to 0. So ang ibig sabihin po nun, kapag kumuha tayo ng derivative ng constant, ang sagot ay laging 0. Okay? Meaning the derivative of constant is always equal to 0. Okay? So example, f of x is equal to 25. Now if we're going to get the derivative of 25, okay, since 25 is a constant, therefore the derivative of 25 is 0. Okay? Yan. So, madali ang ating first rule, which is the constant rule, no? Okay. How about the power rule? So now for our next rule, we have the power rule. Okay? Now we have, if we're going to get the derivative of x raised to n, okay, the derivative of x raised to n, sa anong gagawin natin? Yung exponent, i-multiply natin siya, okay, doon sa ating x raised to n minus 1. So magsusubtract tayo ng 1 from our exponent. Okay, anong example nun? For example, f of x is equal to x raised to 3. So if we're going to get, okay, so x raised to 3 to ha, if we're going to get the derivative of our function, okay, so yung 3, okay, since 3 ang ating exponent, i-multiply natin siya, okay, doon sa x raised to 3 minus 1. Okay? Tandaan ha, sa differentiation, we always subtract 1 from our exponent. Okay? Yan. So now we have 3x raised to 2. Okay po? Yan. So we now have 3x raised to 2. Okay? Yan. So malinaw po ba? Okay, so next. Yan. So, parang nagre-review na lang tayo, no? Siguro naituro na sa atin to ng ating um, teacher, okay, this week or last week, no? Okay. So now, we have the constant multiple rule, okay? So, ang constant multiple rule, ang pagkaiba lang nun sa power rule ay meron siyang constant dito sa unahan, okay? Or meron tayong numerical coefficient here doon sa unahan, no? So, anong gagawin natin? Yung ating exponent, i-multiply natin din sa constant, okay? And then, yung product nun, i-multiply natin doon sa ating x raised to n minus 1. Example. Okay, kunwari ang given natin ay f of x is equal to 5x raised to 4. Okay, so anong gagawin natin? Itong 4, okay, i-multiply natin siya doon sa 5. Okay, kaya tayo nagkaroon ng 5 times 4, then i-multiply natin yung product nun sa x raised to 4 minus 1. Okay, again, nag-subtract tayo ng 1 doon sa ating exponent. So, then simplify na lang natin, no? So, now we have 5 times 4 is equal to 20 and then x raised to 3. Okay? So, nakakailang, ano na po tayo? Nakakailang rule na po tayo. Paki-type nga po sa ating chat box, nakakailang rule na tayo. Nakakailang rule na tayo. Paki-type sa ating chat box. Now, okay, we have, okay, next. Ayan. So, wala pa akong nakikita, no? Nakakailang rule na kaya tayo. Yan. Next, we have the sum rule. Okay, so sum rule naman, we have the f plus g. Okay, so dito naman, we have two or more functions or two or more expressions or addends. Okay? And then, anong gagawin natin? Kukunin lang po natin yung derivative ng each addends or each term doon sa ating given. Okay? Yan. Kaya ang nangyari, f prime plus g prime. So, kukunin natin yung mga derivative ng each addends natin. Okay? So, for example, f of x is equal to x cubed plus 4x plus 5. Okay? Yan. So, babalik tayo doon sa first three na basic rules natin. Ano-ano ulit yon? Yung constant rule, yung power rule, at saka yung constant multiple. Okay? Na rule natin. So, now, we have, okay? So, 3, power rule to, no? 3, okay, x cubed prime. So, kukunin natin yung derivative ng x cubed, kukunin natin yung derivative ng 4x, and then kukunin din natin yung derivative ng 5. Okay? So, for the derivative of x cubed, we have 3, okay, times x raised to 3 minus y. Applying the rule of power, no? Yung power rule natin. Plus, okay, ito naman, yan, 4 times x raised to 1 minus 1. Okay, kasi pag wala tayong exponent sa x, di ba, automatic yon na invisible 1 yun. So, hindi natin nakikita, pero meron yung exponent na 1. So, we're going to subtract 1 from 1. Okay, so imagine, no? So, magiging x raised to 0 na yun. Okay, then the derivative of 5, our constant, so that is equal to 0. Then simplify na lang natin, no? So we have 3x raised to 2 plus, okay, x raised to 0 is equal to 1. So that's why 4 na lang to. Okay, yan. So the derivative of 4x is 4. Okay, so that's the explanation for that. Next, now we have the, difference rule naman tayo. Okay? So, for difference rule, okay, same with sum, but this time, subtraction naman, no? Yung ating operation. So, we'll just get the tawag dito, the the derivative of each term. Okay, for example, we have x raised to 7 minus 6x raised to 5. Okay, so we're going to get the derivative of x raised to 7 and the derivative of 6x raised to 5. Okay, so for this, we apply power rule. So now we have 6x raised to 7 minus 1. So that's why we have 6 here. Okay, yan. 7x raised to 6 minus, multiply 5 doon sa ating constant, which is 6, constant multiple. Okay, rule. So we have 6 times 5. Yan. So yung exponent natin dito, i-multiply lang natin kay 6. Okay, yan, nalipat. And then, minus 1 from 5. Okay, yan. So now we have 7x raised to 6 minus 6 times 5 is 30, x raised to 4. Okay, so that is for difference rule. Okay, so madami ang ating rule, pero okay, always ano lang natin, always go back to the basic, no? Yung tatlong basic natin na ano yan, constant, power, and constant multiple rule. Okay, next. We have the product rule. Okay, so for the product rule, okay, f times g prime, okay, or the derivative of f times g is equal to, okay, f times the derivative of g plus g times the derivative of f. Okay, yan po, no? So, kunwari, ang given natin, f of x is equal to x raised to 8 times 6x raised to 5. Okay, yan. So, we have x raised to 8. So, yung first function muna natin, no? First function natin, x raised to 8. Okay? And then, the derivative of second function, which is 6x raised to 5. Okay? Plus, yung second function natin times the derivative of our first function. Okay? So that's why this one, copy lang natin ang x raised to 8, and then we're going to get the derivative of 6x raised to 5. So meron tayong 5, multiply natin sa 6, and then x raised to 5 minus 1, which is x raised to 4. Okay, then 6x raised to 5, copy. Copy lang natin to. And then the derivative of x raised to 8. So to get that, we have 8 times x raised to 8 minus 1. Okay, then simplify na natin. So we have 5 times 6 is equal to 30. Okay, we have x raised to 8 here. We have x raised to 4 here. And then this one, 6 times 8 is 48. X raised to 5, copy, and then x raised to 8 minus 1 is 7. Then, simplify. Okay, so simplify, we have 30x raised to 12 plus 48x raised to 12. Okay, so pwede pang masimplify, no? Since meron silang same na exponent, we can combine this because similar term. Okay, so we have 30 x raised to 12 and 48 x raised to 12. So we have now 78 x raised to 12. Ayan. So nasaan si Tutor Erwin? Okay. Yan. So nakakailang rule na tayo. So we have pang 6 na, no? Yan, pang 6. So this is our 7th rule. So we now have the division rule. So we are looking for f over g prime, or the derivative of f over g. Okay? So that is equal to, okay, so copy lang muna natin yung denominator. Copy denominator, then get or multiply by the derivative of the numerator. So g f prime minus, okay, yung numerator, times derivative ng denominator. Okay? So, g times f prime minus f times g prime all over g squared. Okay? Or the square of the denominator. Okay, so now, always follow the rules, no? Para, kung halimbawa, bago-bago pa lang tayo, wag muna tayong mag-shortcut, no? Para mas yung sagot natin, 'di ba? Mas sure ang sagot natin. So, eto, denominator, so we now have 2x minus 1 times the derivative of x to the fourth plus 2. Okay? Minus yung numerator times the derivative of 2x minus 1, which is our denominator, all over 2x minus 1, then squared. Diba? Okay, next. Tanggalin na natin yung mga derivatives or yung mga primes natin. So, 2x minus 1, copy lang. Then, 4x raised to 3. Okay, ang derivative ng x to the fourth is 4x raised to 3 plus the derivative of 2 is 0. Okay, minus. Okay, x to the fourth plus 2, copy. And then the derivative of 2x minus 1, which is positive 2. Okay? Since ang derivative ng 1 natin ay 0 din. All over 2x minus 1 squared. Okay, next. We now have, okay, so kinapi ko lang to from a previous slide. Then, multiply na natin. Or we're going to simplify na. Okay, yan. So, 2x times 4x cubed, we have 8x to the fourth minus 4x cubed. We multiply negative 1 times 4x cubed. So, we will get negative 4x cubed. Minus, okay, so kulong muna natin sa parentheses ha. So, 2 times x to the fourth is 2x to the fourth. Then, positive 2. Okay, that gives us positive 4. Okay, then what's next? What's next? Ang gagawin natin, we combine like terms. So, 8x to the fourth minus 2x to the fourth. So, we have 6x to the fourth. Okay, copy natin, negative 4x cubed minus yung positive 4 nandito, no? So, we're going to change the sign. Okay, as what subtraction rule says. Di ba? So, ang atin ang rule ng subtraction. So, minus, okay, change the sign and then, switch to addition, di ba? So, negative times positive 4, okay, so kaya siya naging negative 4 dito. So, for our final answer, we now have 6x to the fourth minus 4x cubed minus 4 all over 2x minus 1 squared. Ayan. So, nagkaroon ng problema si Tutor Erwin sa kanyang internet. Okay. So, now, okay. So, anong gagawin natin ngayon? So, sunod. Ayan. So, kung napapansin nyo, meron tayong last dito, no, na hindi natin naisama sa slide. So, we have the f prime of x. Ayan. So, Tutor Ramel. Okay. So, we have f prime of e raised to x. Okay. So, ito yung pinakamadaling, pinakamadaling na shoot ba? Okay, ito yung pinakamadaling rule kasi the derivative of e raised to x is also equal to e raised to x. Okay? Yeah. So, e raised to x. So, for example, we're going to get the derivative of, 2, okay, so, halimbawa, 1/2 e raised to x. Okay. So, paano mo ngayon kukunin ang derivative ng e raised to x? Hindi ko na shoot. Wait lang. Saan ba ako pupunta? Yan. So, we're going to get the derivative of, 1/2 e raised to x. Ayan. So, anong gagawin natin? So, to get the derivative of this, of our function, yan. So, 1/2, okay, yan. So, 1/2 times, constant multiple, di ba? Okay, times, anong derivative nito? E raised to x. Di ba? Kung ito yan, di ba? Constant multiple. Yan. So, ano yung constant natin? 1/2 times the derivative of e raised to x. So, that is e raised to x. Di ba? So, e raised to x. Yun pa rin siya. Di ba? Nakuha po ba? Okay. Okay, next. Yan. So, paki-take note po ang ating derivative ng trigonometric function. You can take the screenshot kasi magbibigay tayo ng example, no? Yan. So, yan yung mga tatandaan natin for the derivative of trigonometric function. So, we use trigonometric identities and some of the derivative rules or differentiation rules to derive these trigonometric functions or to derive the derivatives of the trigonometric function. So, sa sine at cosine, gumamit tayo ng sum and difference. Okay, yan. So, sum and difference of trigonometric identities. Okay, so for tangent, yan, tsaka cotangent, gumamit tayo ng ano, ng quotient rule. Yan. And so, yung mga tawag dito, um, mga quotient rule ang ginamit natin. So, to derive this trigonometric function or the derivative of trigonometric function. Ayan. So, pwede nyo rin itry yun sa bahay, but I guess na ituro siya ni teacher sa inyo. Okay, ang gagawin natin, i-apply natin itong mga trigonometric function or the derivative nitong ating trigonometric function. Okay, na-screenshot na po ba? Okay, so for our first example. Okay, so sa number 5, this is our first example, no? Yan. So, ano kaya ang gagamitin nating rule? Okay, so dun sa ating algebraic rule, ano kaya yung gagamitin natin dito? No, aside from the derivative of trigonometric function, ano ang i-apply natin for number 5? Sige nga, paki-comment nga sa ating chat box. Okay, kung ano yung gagamitin nating differentiation rule for number 5 aside from trigonometric functions rule. Hindi nga, tingnan ko nga. Yan. So, para alam natin kung ano yung i-apply nila for this number while I'm writing my given. Yan. Power rule, yes. So, we have the power rule or the constant multiple rule. Okay, difference rule, correct? Jadale Sabio, Sir Fernan, this the power rule or the constant multiple rule. What else? Ayan. So, yung dalawa na yun, no? So, we have the difference rule and the constant multiple rule. Okay, so now, to get the derivative of this function, okay, so i-apply natin yung i-apply na natin yung ating tawag dito yung mga rules na napag-aralan natin. So, for this, we're going to multiply 3 dito. So, we have 15. Subtract 1 from the exponent, 15x squared. Ayan, Tutor Romel, pasuyo po. Okay. Minus 2. Okay. Minus 2. Yan. Times, what is the derivative of cosine x? Sige nga, ano ang derivative ng ating cosine x? Paki-comment po sa ating chat box. Ano ang derivative ng cosine x? Oh. Ano ang derivative ng ating cosine x? Negative sine x. Tama, no? So, negative sine x. Ayan. So, i-apply na natin yung ating trigonometric, ayan, rule, no? So, we have 15x squared. So, that's the derivative yung first natin. Minus 2, constant multiple. Okay, then the derivative of cosine x. So, the derivative of cosine x is negative sine x. Then, simplify na lang natin. So, we have f prime of x is equal to 15x squared. Nako, naghihinga lang ating plus 2 sine x. So, that's it. So, yan. Okay? Yan po. Okay? Yan. Next. Ano naman ang i-apply natin? Okay? For number 6. Yan. So, anong rule ang i-apply natin for number 6? Paki-comment sa ating chat box. Ayan, so maraming ano no. Yan, sabi ni Sir Fernand, product rule. Sabi rin ni Glenn is product rule. So, that is correct. So, we're going to use the product rule. Okay, yan. So, tingnan muna natin. Okay, so ang ating F, okay, yan. So, mas maganda kung isusulat muna natin kung ano yung F natin. Okay, yan. So, ang ating F, yan, kasi i-apply natin sa formula. Ang ating F ay sin X. Okay, ano kaya ang ating F prime? Okay. Tapos, ang ating G ay tangent X. Ano kaya ang ating G prime? Okay. So, what is the derivative of sine and tangent? Sige nga po. Yan. So, pa-comment po ano ang mga derivative ng ating sine x and then tangent x. So, we're looking for the derivative of sine x and tangent x because we're going to use that in our rule. Diba? Sa product rule. So, we need this. Okay? Yung given natin. Okay po? Yan. So, anong gagawin natin? Ayan. So, nasaan na? Ano ang ating equivalent ng ating Yan. So, yan, tama, no? Sabi ni Eliza May Lalin, so the derivative of sine x is cosine x while the derivative of tangent x or tangent of x is the square of secant x. Okay, yan. So, cosine of x at saka yung square ng secant x. Okay? Ayan. So, applying the product rule. Okay, applying the product rule. Baka may sumasagot na sa dyan, no? So, FG prime is equal to FG prime plus GF prime. Okay, yan. So, now we have F is sine x. Sine of x times the quantity g prime. So, square of secant x plus, yan, hindi nagkasya. Sige, bahala na mag-adjust ang ating mga mata. Ayan, g is tangent. Okay, and then cosine. Ayan. So, apply natin yung ating rules, no? So, ano yung rule natin? F, ano yung F? Sin x. G prime, square of secant x, plus, okay, since plus ang ating, formula. So, we have G is tangent of x, and then ang ating F prime is cosine of x. Okay pa? Yan. Then, we're going to simplify. Ayan. So, pwede tayong gumamit. Actually, pwede tayong magkaroon ng more than one na answer dito, no? So, depende sa kung ano ang papalitan natin. Okay? Na mga values or mga trigonometric identities. Okay? So, I choose to substitute, okay, this as 1 over cosine squared and this as sine over cosine. Ayan. So, pero, pwede na to. Kung generous si teacher, okay, pwede na tong sagot na to. Okay? But then, okay, kung gusto ni teacher na mas simplified pa, okay, so, of course, we need to identify yung trigonometric identities involved in this given. Okay? Yan. So, I have here sin x. Yan. Okay. Ibibigay ko sa inyo and then simplify. Ano sa palagay niyo yung magiging simplified version nito? Yan. Pero pwede ring maging iba ang sagot nyo. Okay? So, depende sa kung anong identities ang ginamit nyo, no? Yan. Okay, yan. So, okay, ang ginamit ko, okay, Ayan. So, ito yung sumunod na equal sign natin, oh. So, ang ginamit ko, yan. So, we have sin x, hindi ko binago. Ang binago ko ay yung square of secant x, which is ginawa kong 1 over square of cosine x plus, okay, sine of x over cosine of x. So, I replace tangent x or tangent of x as sine of x over cosine of x and then multiply to cosine of x. Okay, kindly type the simplified answer, okay, in our chat box. Okay, paki-type po ano kaya yung simplified version. Ayan. Sige, tingnan natin kung ano yung simplified version. May sagot na si Sir Fernan. Baka may iba kayong sagot dyan. Okay, so tingnan natin. Baka may ibang sagot ang ating mga students. Ayan. So while waiting for your answer, i-ano lang natin, no, yung ating sagot. Okay? Yan. Okay. Tingnan nga natin. Wala pa akong nakikita ibang sagot. Okay? Yan. So, pwede yung ginawa ni Sir. Okay? But you can also consider this. Ayan. So, anong ginawa natin? So, pinalitan natin yung secant, square of secant x as 1 over square of cosine x. Okay? Yan. So, pinaghiwalay ko yung cosine x natin dito. Okay? Yan. Sabi ko nga sa inyo, depende sa kung anong trigonometric identities ang gagamitin natin or or papalitan natin. Kaya pwedeng mag-iba ang ating sagot dyan. Okay? So, I have here, ang ginawa ko, yung isang cosine, yung, di ba kasi square of cosine x to, yung isang cosine, ibinigay ko siya dito kay sine. Okay? Yung isang 1 over cosine of x. Okay? Para magkakaroon ako ng tangent dito, tapos ito naging secant of x, and then makakancel itong cosine of x natin, then we have sine x. Okay? Yan. Okay na po? Yan. So, ito na yung aking final answer. Okay? Yan. So, pwede nyo rin siyang paglaruan sa bahay, no? Ayan. So, ito lang yung paglalaroan nyo. Wag yung tao. Wag yung ibang tao. Pwedeng ito yung paglaruan nyo, algebraic manipulation, so pwede yun. Okay? So now, last we have okay, yan, yung quotient rule natin. Okay, pakitype nga, baka meron na kayong sagot na habang nagsasagot ako kanina sa product rule, tingnan ko nga baka may sagot na kayo for our quotient rule na involving involving trigonometric. Okay, so this is our last example and then additional activity tayo. Okay, so for our f of x, yan, kasi pasuko na rin yung aking whiteboard. Ayan, pati ang aking whiteboard marker. Sinukuan na po ako. Okay lang, sanay naman ako. Ayan po. Ayan po. Ayan, so this is our last given. So we'll just follow what? We will just follow the rule for quotient, no? But this time, involving trigonometric function. Okay? Yan. So now, anong gagawin natin? So, applying the quotient rule. So, una muna natin isusulat yung 1 plus cosine x, right? And then the derivative of sine x. Minus, okay? Sin x naman, ang una nating isusulat, times the derivative of 1 plus cosine x. Ayan. All over 1 plus cosine x squared. Okay po? Ayan na po siya. Ayan. So, first natin isusulat sa ating numerator ay 1 plus cosine x that the rule says. Okay, then times the derivative of numerator, which is the sine x, derivative ng sine x, minus, okay, sine x naman ang una nating isusulat, times the derivative of 1 plus cosine x. All over 1 plus cosine x squared. Ayan. Then, simplify lang natin. So, we have 1 plus cosine x. Anong derivative ng sine x natin? Derivative niyan ay cosine x. Okay. Shout out sa aking x dyan. Minus. Swerte mo, lagi kitang nababanggit dito sa ETUlay. Okay. Then, we have sine x. So, the derivative of 1 plus x is, ano? Negative. Negative ano? Sine x. Ayan. So, anong answer natin dito? Ayan. All over, ano pala? All over, ayan. Huwag iiwan ang ating denominator. Okay? Sige nga, patingin nga ng inyong simplified nito. Ayan. Tingnan natin. 1 over 1 plus cosine x, sabi ni Sir Fernan. Ayan. So, tingnan natin. Okay? Sige nga, sige nga. Oh. So, na-simplify ka na. 1 plus cosine x, derivative of sine x is cosine x, minus sine x. Sine x yan. Okay? Times the derivative of 1 plus cosine x. So, this is 0. Derivative of cosine x is negative sine x. Ayan, diba? Over 1 plus cosine x squared. Wow. So, simplify. Yan. So, now I have 1 plus cosine, square of cosine plus square of sine. All over 1 plus cosine x, cosine of x squared. Ayan. O, ano na susunod dyan? O, ma'am, may nakita po akong identity. Yun, nandun sa denominator. Diba? Nakita niyo yun? Kita niyo yun? Sorry, this is ano pala, cosine. Okay, cosine x. Yan. Yan, kasi i-distribute ko pala to. O yan, so cosine x. Okay. Cosine x pala to, plus cosine square of cosine x. Then negative times negative gives you positive. Ayan. Sorry. Okay. Yan. So from here, hindi na kasi kasya eh. Sorry. 1 plus cosine x times cosine x, okay, minus, okay, sine of x times times negative sine of x. So, distribute natin ng cosine x and then multiply these two, okay, all over 1 plus cosine x squared. Okay? Yan. So, ano susunod? Yan. So, ano matitira? Cosine of x, okay, yan, plus 1 over 1 plus cosine. Okay. Yan ang natira. Bakit 1? Pythagorean identity ng ating trigonometric identities. Diba? So, pagiging plus 1 na siya. Okay? Then, ito, makakancel at saka yung isang 1 plus cosine x. Kaya 1 na lang yan ang numerate ang kanyang exponent dyan. Okay, yan. Na-cancel ang ating cosine x plus 1 since pareho lang naman yan sa ating 1 plus cosine x. So, cancel natin common factor. So, that arrives the answer of Sir Fernan, which is 1 over cosine of x. Okay, yan. So, 1 over 1 plus cosine x. Yan. Diba? Ang hirap pag whiteboard mo maliit. Ayan. Okay na po? Ayan. Sana nasundan natin no, yung application ng ating differentiation rules. Okay? So, for our additional activity, kindly get the screenshot of our additional activity and then answer, okay, natin sa ating free time during weekends. Okay, yan. So, pwedeng ituro sa mga elementary nating kapatid na, halika, banding tayo, kuha tayo ng derivative ng function. Ayan po, no? Yan. So, pwede rin itong banding moment ng inyong parents, ganyan, inyong mga friends, ganyan, pag wala kayong magawa. Okay, yan. So, pero sobra nagpapasalamat kami kasi talagang talagang sinasagutan niyo yung additional activity na binibigay namin. So, maraming salamat with that. Sorry po, hindi niyo nakikita yung ilalim. Ayan yung ating ilalim. Okay, yan. So, ngayon, samahan niyo po kami. Okay, kay Tutor Eljude and Tutor Rev sa ating Technosip na yan. Ayan, ngayon na po, nag-air na po sila since tayo po ay overtime na, late na rin tayo nakapagsimula. Okay, so for our feedback form ngayong third quarter, ayan, so naka-week 7 na tayo, no? Kung meron kayong any suggestions, recommendations, comments sa amin ni Tutor Erwin, malugod po namin tinatanggap yan para sa i-improve ng programang DepEd ETUlay. Muli, samahan nyo kami every Friday, 4:40 to 5:20 p.m. Ayan, sa ating basic calculus session. Ayan, so please, pwede nyo kaming i-contact ni Tutor Erwin sa aming page at sa aming Facebook account, which is the Tutor Zara and Tutor Erwin. Ayan, so halina kayo, sugad na tayo doon sa ating special program ng Senior High School Mathematics, ang Technosip na yan, na kung saan fini-feature natin kung paano gumamit ng calculator, okay, especially ang ating Casio class Wiz na pwede natin gamitin at sobrang dali ng mga features na hindi natin nakalain na pwede pala siyang makuha sa calculator ng ganito, no, na yun ang kailangan natin matutunan kasi walang silbi ang ating calculator kung hindi natin siya alam kung paano gagamitin. And syempre, sa pag-check ng ating sagot. Okay? So ngayon, tayo na't sumugod sa ating Technosip Mateki ka ba? Okay, hanggang sa muli. Kita-kits tayo every Friday, ha? Bye!
Ang husay naman! Natapos mo ang iyong tutorial session kasama ang iyong mahusay na ETUlay tutor. May bago ka bang natutuhan? I-share na yan gamit ang hashtag #ETUlayLevelUp. Huwag aalis ha dahil may susunod pang programa na pwede mo ring panoorin at salihan dahil naghihintay na ang iyong mga tutors. Happy learning dito sa ETUlay!